Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Brian. I'm here with Corey from God of War. God of War at E3? What year is it? This is awesome. You guys brought back God of War. How? How?
Sheer force of will and insanity, man.
So was this something that you wanted to do for a long time, that you came to Sony and said, we have a brand new idea for the way we can take this IP that's been cherished for so long in the gaming universe and try something new with it?
Yeah, I actually had kept in contact with Shannon Studstill for a number of years after I had left Sony. And I think we got together at a GDC and started talking seriously about, you know what, I kind of have another God of War story in me. And the people I've worked with over the last few years have sort of changed the way I look at story and character. So I was like, I really want to kind of mix things up, try something different. And to their credit, they were on board the whole time. Like, they were huge supporters of this.
So now, there's been some question about the characters in this game. The second we saw him, some of the most thunderous applause I think I've ever heard at E3.
Yeah, that
but
was
this is
awesome.
Kratos. Straight up and down. This is
Yep.
Kratos, right? No
This is
question.
Kratos.
And now he's a family man?
He's looking for a second chance. So this is the continuation of Kratos' story from 3. So it is not some alternate universe or anything like that. Because to me, the mythologies really are kind of constantly existing in parallel.
Sure.
So all the mythologies exist at the exact same time. They're just separated by the geography of the cultures, right?
So this isn't like we are rebooting Kratos, we are retelling Kratos. You're adding sort of a new diagonal to his timeline here.
Yeah, I mean, we're basically saying this is Kratos in sort of the middle age of his life, right? He's left Greece. He's trying to get as far away from the past as he possibly can, and be away from people, right? And going to this area of Scandinavia that is really pre-Viking, pre-migration, sort of the isolated time that when the Vikings were around, they had said the gods abandon us, right? Thor and Odin and Loki, they all kind of walk the earth. This is the time in which the gods walk the earth, this sort of prehistory for the Viking era.
So now Kratos has a lot of history, and not all of it's very great, like the kind of stuff that you would repress if you were trying to sleep at night. Does that sort of play into this at all?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's really interesting that the first chapter of his life is like that 7 games of the Greek era, right?
Yeah.
And he's a flawed demigod, human being / god, right? And he has, to me, a long way to go on his trajectory. A lot of people, oh, he's done. Kratos' story is done. And to me, you look at Arrow, the first season of Arrow, he's all about just killing people, right? And then the second season, he's all about, like, he's struggling with being presented with that opportunity and not doing that, making choices in a different way. That second season wouldn't work without the first season, because you got to kind of go through that.
So what you're saying is that there still is this monster inside of him.
Oh, yeah.
And it almost certainly will still come out as what we're seeing right here.
Yeah.
But there is a humanity to him that we've never seen before.
No, it's like he is truly, to me, kind of like the Hulk. And in the Greek era of games, like we let the Hulk out all the time, right? He had no balance in any of that. And giving him a reason to actually aspire towards that balance, this idea that he's had a horrible home life, right? His father tried to kill his father. So his father tried to kill him. He ended up killing his father. They have a horrible history of abuse and mistrust. So Kratos, knowing that he's probably never going to truly die, he's sort of doomed and cursed to walk the earth. He's trying to get that second chance, that perhaps instead of complaining and wishing for people to take away the past from him, he's going to try to make a different tomorrow, you know?
So it's kind of on him. He's sort of given this chance to fix or correct the lineage that he comes from, to maybe take a step in a new direction and bring things a little better.
Right. Teach his son how to be a god and avoid the mistakes that he made. You know, it's like we see these bad traits of ourselves in our kids, and all we want to do is change that. We want to make sure they don't make the same mistakes we did. And, you know, to me, Kratos is a god first because he's suppressed his humanity.
Yeah.
He has lost most of his humanity. So along this journey, his son is actually going to teach him how to be a human because he doesn't know any different.
So from a fundamental sort of gameplay perspective, is he giving his son experience?
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
like teaching.
That's so cool.
Teaching is the whole foundation of this. This is great sort of like eternal rite of passage of parents passing on information to children. And in sort of our modern age, survival out in the world means has a very different meaning than survival in kind of this prehistory. You know, that's like literally every footstep could be a footstep towards death. And survival is very brutal.
So now, is your son with you the entire game?
Yes.
And have you like come to the sort of reality that this kid is going to see some horrific stuff in this game? And it's basically, I mean, this isn't a mature rated game.
What's that?
This is an M-rated game.
Yes.
And a child is present the entire time. That's kind of like a very daring decision to make.
It is, yeah. But in this time period, it's a child who actually is part god, right? Kratos is a god. They are moving through this sort of fantastic mythological world, and it is at a time when they are surrounded by threats. There isn't a lot of people there who just want to go and give them high fives. You know?
Right.
They are constantly fighting for their survival.
Yeah, there are no Montessori schools to put your son in.
Right.
Or,
There's no rye method here.
Yeah, no
right?
padded development. You know. So one of the things I was immediately struck by in this game is just sort of how different it is than any other God of War game, and not only tonally, it's just the way the gameplay is, the perspective, the family dynamic. How has the reception to that been so far?
It's been really good. I mean, there is the expected. I think Resident Evil making the transition from 3 to Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Even the director of that game was like, you can't do a controllable camera for this.
Sure.
We'll never get scares. You can't create tension. And through the development process, they realized you actually can. You know, and this different sort of camera view, this different sort of take on all of it. Sometimes I think you don't have a lot to see, so initially it might be, whoa, this is a lot different from God of War. But once people get in there, get their hands on it, realize like the DNA, the blood of God of War flows through every aspect of this game.
It has been very cool seeing this. I know at IGN specifically when we first saw this trailer, everyone in the room lit up. And I think it's because we are appreciative of seeing a franchise like this not necessarily grow up, but evolve. And I do feel like there is a deal of maturity that's happening with this series right now. But that's not always the case with a lot of sort of sequels and reboots. The reactions to them can be very varied, sometimes entirely negative.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that this time around, you guys are trying something new, and the reception has been so positive.
Yeah. It's great to hear fans speak up positively and negatively. I think we feed a lot off of them because
Yeah.
I don't make games for myself to just play. You know, I'm not Prince. I actually make it for everybody, you know, so their opinions, their feedback means a whole lot in how we shape this game.
Now, in terms of gameplay here, we're seeing a lot of sections that feel sort of open world-ish, or kind of like sandboxes that lead into more tunnel areas that lead out to sandboxes. Is that kind of the design flow of this game?
Yeah, we want to open it up a lot more, make it wider. There are linear sections of the game, but there is a much more open feeling, a sense of discovery, a really encouraging the player to explore the world. You know, I want to create a world where people are like, I want to go back in there, not just to do a update run or complete the game with only one weapon, but to really say, oh, I can probably discover a little bit more. I could find a bit of the mythology.
Now, in the previous God of War games, one of the things that was most impressive to me, and I think everyone, is the sense of scale that you have. And we're seeing parts of it here, even with just this creature right here, but the giant enemy that starts fighting you earlier. When the PS4 was first announced, we started seeing screenshots for it. One of the first things I said is, I want a God of War game running on this hardware with that sense of scale, where you're running along a cliff and all of a sudden it lifts up and you're on a finger or a hand. Are you guys playing with that sort of sense where you're dealing with these monstrosities that are towering?
Yeah, absolutely. Set pieces are part of what we do, you know. We chose very deliberately to make this demo focused around a few core tenets, you know. But set pieces, especially with this new camera, are going to be a big part of it. Big bosses. That creature that you fought, the troll, is just an enemy that you might encounter throughout the game. That's a standard fight that you'll experience. That's not even a heavily curated big boss fight moment.
Sure.
So we are going to have these sort of massive, epic boss fights, as well as the sense of scale. To me, the Norse world is about this massive sense of scale of the world. The world itself is almost a character.
Now, in terms of these sort of like sandbox-ish environments, can you sort of just hang out in them and hunt and gather? Like, is there a benefit to the gameplay of actually standing around and doing that kind of stuff?
We're not talking about that
We'll see.
right now. We'll see. We'll see.
Because that's actually one of my favorite things to do in games is sort of like you get into a little area like that, and you start hunting for a while until all of the evil deer are gone, and you've completely eviscerated them from population.
Evil deer. I like that.
I'm calling him an evil deer. Like, he didn't look like a normal, cool, happy deer.
Right. No, no. He was a mythological creature, and perhaps you just made that species extinct.
Now, we saw that moment right there in the demo where Kratos is teaching his son to actually just to kill.
Yeah.
And he's struggling with that to his sense. Is that something that's going to sort of permeate the game?
Yeah.
Are we going to see this basically, are we going to see a hardened killer grow? Or
No, it's more what it takes to survive within that world. You know, in that sort of subsistence life, if you don't hunt, you don't eat. If you don't eat, you don't live kind of thing. And in that situation, this sort of test that Kratos is putting his son under is to kind of see if the kid is ready to take him out on the road. The sort of adventure, the journey that they're going on, he needs to know that the kid will be safe. And so this kind of test is to see where he is at in his development. But yeah, that it goes to show the interesting sort of dichotomy with Kratos that he is at home, at ease, fighting a giant creature.
Yeah.
That is his jam. But in a moment when he has to kind of compliment his kid, he doesn't know what to do.
Well, that's what's going to be fascinating to watch because I feel like Kratos' comfort zone is terror.
Yeah.
Like, he just handles that so well, and then all of a sudden he's got something else to worry about, and he's got this extra level, this extra dimension to him, where he's actually learning something as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's interesting, I think, from a dramatic standpoint, what we like is not to see somebody win. What we like is to see them fail over and over again and get back up, right? Because the victory at the end of that is so much more satisfying. That sense of being along for that and inspiring you to know, wow, if he can get back up after that, so can I. You know?
I mean, winning is boring if you think about it. Just watching somebody knock it out the park consistently. Like, where's the fun in that? We saw a really cool sort of snowy, mountain, foresty environment there. How much more diversity in landscape are we going to see in this game?
A whole lot. You've only seen a very, very small amount. Throughout this demo, because I am a gigantic Mr. Robot fan, we have peppered a ton of little Easter eggs and secrets that indicate and hint towards characters in the game, little themes that we're dealing with, aspects of like goals in the game. So you guys did that rewind theater thing.
Yep.
I think you caught maybe 2% of
What?
what was in there. So gauntlet thrown down. Y'all got to get a little bit better.
Ladies and gentlemen at home, scrub through this trailer multiple times, dig it apart, find everything. I have a theory. You ride dragons to get from area to area in this game. Can you confirm?
I can neither confirm nor deny, but mostly deny.
Mostly,
we're not
okay,
gonna-
so
we're
it's a
not
no. Well, so how will traversal work in this game? I mean, it seems so big, and these characters are basically just wearing, you know, ancient underwear. It feels like they'd freeze to death eventually, or burn to death, depending on where they end up.
Yeah, the elements are definitely harsh, but they're both gods, so they deal with it a little bit better. And Kratos has pants now, so right, he's got that beard in the pants, so he's good.
He could probably just grow out the beard until it covers his whole
Right.
body, and then he's just nice and warm anywhere he goes.
It's like Witcher. Your beard just keeps growing throughout the entire game. You have epic beard.
His son needs to start growing a beard. That's the problem.
Yes.
Yeah. So what else can you tell us about this game? This has been, how long have you been working on this now?
It feels like a really long time. I think it's 3 years, maybe 3-4 years that I've been on this thing. It's been a while, and it will be a little bit while longer. But I can say that this team is putting everything they have into this game. You know, never before have I worked on a game in which sort of the journey of the studio is paralleling the story of the game.
Right.
You know, we are this family that is sort of teaching or raising our child of God of War. Like, we've lived with this child for so long. We have seen it through its ups and downs, and this is this new opportunity. To me, it's almost like that point where you let go of the kid when he's riding the bike to see if he can kind of wobble and make it.
So I did that with my brother once, and no joke, he went headfirst into a telephone pole.
Well,
And
I
had to
really
get
hope that
stitches.
doesn't happen to us.
Okay. Yeah, please do not hurt this kid, by the way. I
Right.
mean, I'm actually just watching this over and over again. I'm starting to get very attached to him. And I can feel how that's going to be a very big dynamic in God of War, is making sure he's okay. Kratos, I'm not so worried about. He's been through hell and back, but please, don't hurt this kid.
Well, one of the points that we had made early on was that, we're not gonna. This kid is not gonna get in the way. He's not somebody you have to babysit. He's not somebody that's gonna steal your kills or anything like that. He is 100% there to support. So he is there enriching the character development between the two characters, but you will always feel like he is doing exactly what you want him to do.
Awesome.
So
Well, Corey, thank you so much. God of War looks amazing.
Thank
Get
you.
excited.
Thank
This
you.
is video games are growing up and they look cooler than ever.
yes,
Fantastic. When can we hear more about God of War?
when we are ready to
When
say
you're ready.
something.
Well, take your time because you did that so far and everything
Thank
looks
you.
fantastic. We will wait. I'm Brian. This is Corey. You are watching IGN for E3 2016. We're live all week long, so stay right
All
where
week.
you are.